Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my astrological forecast for the upcoming week. And this one predominantly will be focused on the new moon in Pisces, which we will be experiencing on February 27th. So right before we move into a brand new month. And I have my notes ready. I have the chart ready. So we're going to be diving in shortly. But first and foremost, I would like to open this space and call in on my higher self, my spirit guides, ancestors, starseed family, angelic team, ascended masters, astrological team, and all the beings of light that wish to be present for this recording. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for being here. And let's just dive in. So as usual, I'm just going to name the aspects first. So I'm recording this on Saturday. Moon is moving from the Sagittarius into the sign of Capricorn. Mercury is trine in Vesta. And then tomorrow on Sunday the 23rd, Mercury in Pisces will be making a trine to Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer. Ceres will move into the sign of Pisces, and then subsequently Mars will station direct. So this is probably the most important thing to mention. Mars has been retrograde since December and re-entered Cancer in January, early January, and now Mars is stationing direct and will stay in the sign of Cancer until April 17th, which is when Mars will return into the sign of Aries. So this been quite interesting period of time having Mars retrograde, because Mars is the planet that goes retrograde the least, because Mars is the action. It's how we move forward, right? So from now onward, it will be a little bit more of a forward momentum, even though, as I keep saying, I don't believe there will be much of it until April, because Venus is going to be going retrograde next week. So, and then after that, Mercury. So we had quite a few retrogrades still upcoming, and that will all continue, because this year we don't have much of a time when there is nobody retrograde. But anyway, so the week starting from Monday the 24th, Pallas is conjuncting Pluto. Moon will be moving to the sign of Aquarius, literally right before midnight for me here in the Central Time. So for many people, it will be already on Tuesday. Tuesday the 25th, Mercury will conjunct Saturn. So this is a reset of their last conjunction, which took place on February 28, 2024, on the same day as Sun conjuncted Saturn. And this one is taking place on 20 degrees 16 minutes of Pisces, which is the Scorpio decan already. Okay, Ceres is squaring Juno. Wednesday, just Moon is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, squaring Uranus actually on the day. Okay, Thursday the 27th, in the early hours of Thursday morning, Moon will move into the sign of Pisces in preparation for the Pisces new moon. But prior to that, we'll have the exact Mercury sextile to Uranus. The last conjunction took place on May 30th. So this is the last closing sextile before the next conjunction, which will take place on May 24th. And that will be right before the new moon in Gemini. Okie doke. So that's Thursday the 27th, the new moon in Pisces. We dive into that in a moment. Then Friday the 28th, and then March 1st, Saturday, we will enter into a brand new month, which is March the 1st. We will be slowly but surely coming towards the eclipses, because this is actually, in fact, the last lunation prior to eclipses, because our next lunation, the full moon in Virgo, will be a lunar eclipse. So on March the 1st, Mercury will enter his shadow, 26 degrees 50 minutes of Pisces. Moon will enter Aries, so reset of a cycle. Mercury will make a first conjunction to North Node. Mercury, just like Venus, will be conjuncting North Node and also Neptune, which Mercury is conjuncting the following day. Mercury will conjunct North Node 3 times, so the second time will be on 4/4 portal, which is the day when Sun conjuncted North Node last year. At that time, Mercury will be retrograde, and the third and the final conjunction between Mercury and North Node will be on April the 10th, because Mercury will station direct on April 7th. Okay, so Mercury conjuncting North Node for the first time, March 1st, and Venus is stationing retrograde on 10 degrees 50 minutes of Aries, and Venus will be retrograde until full moon in Libra, which is on April 12th. And Venus will also return back into the sign of Pisces, and that will be, let me just check my notes, 27th of March. And she will conjunct Neptune on the same day. Okay, so Venus stationing retrograde on March the 1st. March the 2nd, Mercury will make first conjunction to Neptune, 28 degrees 57 minutes of Pisces. The second conjunction will be on March 29th, which is exactly on the solar eclipse in Aries, and the third and the final on April 16th, which is right after the full moon in Libra. And then on the same day, on Sunday, the 2nd of March, the Sun will make a square to Jupiter, 12 degrees, 25 minutes. And the last conjunction between the two of them took place on May 18th, and the next one will take place, that was in the sign of Taurus. Taurus 28 degrees 18 minutes. This one is in the sign of Gemini, and the next one will take place on June 24th, 2025 on 3 degrees of Cancer, which I believe is alongside with the new moon in Cancer. I think that's the following day. Okay, so technically everything I just named is going to be fully present during this new moon in Pisces. That is not an eclipse. Okay, so let's just look at the chart. It's 11:38, which is 11:11, so that's a good time to start. All right. Okay, so this is the chart of the new moon in Pisces that we will be experiencing. Let me just move my face so I can see the chart. Okay, perfect. So this is the new moon in Pisces. New moon in Pisces. Yes, new moon in Pisces will be experiencing, but I want to point out to the where it all began last year, new moon in Pisces 2024, because this is what's getting reset, of course. We can see also then we had all these planets between Pisces and Aries. Mercury was on 0 degrees of Aries. So Mercury plays a significant role because Mercury has been busy this week, and also the next week Mercury is making the most aspects, especially with the conjunction to North Node, conjunction to Neptune, first one of the three. So we can see Mercury even here, this is the current one, is an active participant. We can see everything is stellium in the Pisces over there, Venus 10 degrees, Chiron 20 degrees. So last year, we had Mercury on 0 degrees. So that was technically already indicating that the program will have to be reset. We also had Venus and Mars post their conjunction, new phase conjunction, making a trine to the south node. So again, the program and the way that we are operating in this world, in this reality, came from the external source, came from other people. This was also prior to Jupiter-Uranus conjunction 2024, which took place the following month in April. So this story was ending, and we can see that was being trined by Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, because we need to heal the shadow of the humanity, the sense of inferiority, because we feel we are not perfect enough. And also Mercury at the time was in a closing phase with North Node, and so was Sun and everybody else. Neptune just had a conjunction with North Node now at the beginning of the month, and also North Node just conjuncted Chiron at the time. So this is reset of the cycle where we are treating our wounds and healing them, because once again, nobody came here to be perfect, and nobody came here to live somebody else's life. We didn't come here to prove our value and self-worth by living somebody else's life or accommodating other people if that is not in our best interest, or if it's not in alignment with our needs and values. And also we can see Pluto at the time was actually making a sextile to this Mercury. So anyway, so we can see there was a lot of indication. Also Saturn closing phase to the new moon at the time. So that again is indicating the structure of the reality we are experiencing is ending. 11 degrees master number, frequency free, because there is a new creation underway. This was the 20 degrees. So that is the Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio degree. So between March 2024 and also this, I believe, was the last lunation before the eclipse, yes, because the 25th of March was the Libra full moon lunar eclipse. So between then and now, we obviously discovered a lot of things with regards to what is and isn't working for us. This was the full moon, September 17th, 2024, the full moon in Pisces, which was in fact the lunar eclipse, the first one, but it was out of sign because obviously the nodes were still in Aries and Libra. And we can see that Saturn again is conjunct the moon. For moon, this is Saturn, moon is in a new phase with Saturn, but we can see moon is in a closing phase with Neptune over here. And also this North Node still in a closing phase conjunction with the Neptune. So this is culmination of the cycle between North Node and Neptune. Also, I already covered this in previous videos. The last conjunction between North Node and Neptune in the sign of Pisces was in 1858. And obviously the last one in this century was in 2008, and that was in the sign of Aquarius. It was the same year as Pluto entered into the sign of Capricorn and that is all passé now. So we can see with this moon being close into Neptune, the sense of who we are, because not Neptune, but moon is our sense of identity, is our heritage, is our ancestor line, is our ego identity, that is all ending, right? So this was the full moon, it was the lunar eclipse. This was a very significant day for me because someone very special entered into my life exactly on that day. And we can see there was that kite in the sky, the formation of the kite, which is always a divine orchestration in a sense. Everything was happening exactly in alignment. We can see Jupiter was squaring the full moon, the eclipse. And Jupiter in sign of Gemini, this was pre-retrograde because Jupiter was stationed retrograde in October after the eclipse in Libra. So Jupiter was on 20 degrees. This is Aquarius already. Yeah, Aquarian degree. Why do we have to make a new choice? Because the old story is outdated and it needs to change. Mercury here in Virgo, yes, it needs to be adjusted. This is a Capricorn decan. Because we need to become a conscious creators of that. Because also here with the moon being in a new phase with this Saturn, because we need to become someone that feels in charge of their life in co-creation with the spirit. So this was the illumination of this cycle that began over here. Sun and Moon, well, you could say it's close into Neptune, but technically because Neptune, Sun is the static point, Neptune was in a new phase conjunction, we are birthing a reality that is based on a deeper meaning, that is in co-creation with the spirit, that actually comes from the higher power, not just the ego mind. So all of these things were already seeded and then illuminated to us throughout the past year. And now we taking ourselves to the present moment in time, we have a little reshuffling, even though still everything is between Pisces and Aries. This time there is nobody in Aquarius apart from Pluto, and Pluto is still trining the South Node, even though it is an out of sign trine, and also Pluto is trining Lilith. Black Moon Lilith. So it is about breaking free from that projection of the external reality onto us that made us feel unworthy, that made us feel that, we are in a sense that determined the role that we played, because there were all these contracts, and I want to dive deeper into this in a moment, but there are all these contracts that at the moment we are freeing ourselves from, the karmic contracts from the past. And that's what I also feel with the Lilith in Libra. Things are coming up to the surface for the final resolution because we need to move forward. Also with this Mars how Pluto acts consciously. This is right after Mars station direct, because Mars is stationing direct now on the 23rd. So Mars is making a trine to this moon, and this with regards to Sun is the first trine, which is the Leo trine. What are we creating? New sense of self. Why? Because the moon was in a closing phase conjunction with Neptune during the eclipse, because who we were is no longer going to be who we are becoming. Okay. This thing keeps moving, and now I need it to move again. Okay. So this new moon, which we are seeing right now, will be illuminated to us again by the eclipse. So there is an interesting thing that I want to point out, that we don't have a solar eclipse in Pisces. All these Pisces lunations, they are just new moons, right? There are new moons. We have the lunar eclipses that are in the Pisces full moons that are the eclipses, and those are the lunar eclipses, the illumination. So we started with the 2024, 18th of September, 17th for this time zone, which I'm at the moment, depending where you were in the world. I was in the US at the time, so for me it was the 17th. So yeah, we can see lunar eclipse, again, lunar eclipse. And actually, even the Virgo ones are mostly lunar eclipses. There is just one solar eclipse, which we will experience this year in September. We have two moons in Virgo. So the second one, which will be on 29 degrees, will be an eclipse. And then we'll have another lunar eclipse in 2027 of Virgo. This Pisces, the last eclipse will be in 2026. I do have the chart for that as well. So isn't it interesting that all these eclipses in Pisces are just lunar eclipses? Same as we had with Aries, what we were just experiencing in the past year and a half, the Aries eclipses, they were all new moons. So there was all this initiation, and now we have all these full moons eclipses in Pisces, which is the illumination of the deeper meaning. Why all of these things are getting initiated? What are things changing for us? And obviously, we need to wait for the cycles to develop to really understand what's going on here, because these things take time. The eclipses, they reverberate into the future, right? Like we will not have another eclipse in Pisces then for another 8 years. So, okay, so this is the eclipse we will be experiencing this year, which will be the full moon of the lunation we are seeing. And at the time, Saturn will be back in Pisces, but Neptune will be still on 1 degree of Aries, and Uranus will be on 1 degree of Gemini. 1 degree, this is the magician degree. 29 degrees, anaretic degree. Also Pluto, we can see here, Pluto also on 1 degree. There is almost an exact trine between Pluto and Uranus. So this is a supportive aspect. We are making a choice, new choice with regards to individuation and liberation. Why? Because we seek in a deeper meaning. We can see Moon is here in a closing phase conjunction with the North Node. So this eclipse will be exactly on the North Node, because the old version of ourselves is not going to be around for much longer. We are all going through a process of metamorphosis, and this is perfectly in alignment with this year of Hermit, right? South Node in Virgo, Mercury here in Virgo, closing phase, again, closing phase, things are culminating. And then this new moon, which we are seeing now on the 27th of February, 2025, it will be culminating with this one. I mean, it will be resetting, because always the new moon is the end and the beginning. The full moon is just the midpoint. It's the illumination of the process. It's the opportunity for balancing, right? So this moon, which we are seeing right here, right now, will be then reset on 18th of March, 2026. Saturn and Neptune will be already in Aries, but Uranus will be still in a sign of Taurus, because Uranus is not changing sign until April 2026. And then, as I already mentioned, the final eclipse in Pisces will be then in August 2026. And in that time, we'll have everybody in the new signs. We can see Saturn, Neptune in Aries, Chiron in Taurus, and Uranus in Gemini, squaring the actual eclipse, right? I think actually this eclipse this year isn't it squared? What is it squared by? Not quite, it's too far. Yeah, it's a bit too far. Okay. So we had Jupiter square in the eclipse last year, September 2024. We had the Jupiter square in the eclipse. And this was about the choice, choosing what story are we going to be experiencing. And then when we look at the 2 years later, 2026, we have Uranus square in the eclipse, right? And pointing to the North Node, which is he's going to be also square in the North Node, out of sign, but still ruler. Uranus being the ruler of the North Node, pointing to the North Node as a resolution node, squaring the moon, saying that, okay, well, what did you decide, right? What is the process, the individuation process? Now, Uranus is in Gemini, no Jupiter. Jupiter is the story here, Uranus, and Jupiter is in Leo. So we will be creating the story, we will be manifesting it. Saturn is in Aries, we'll be manifesting. This is Leo Deacon. 1 degree, 12 plus 1, 13, right? So this is the 13 is the death card in tarot. The 13 is the Aries degree. We are going ahead. August 2026, we are going ahead, and we can see Chiron, which is the wounded healer in Taurus, the foundation of humanity. It's trining the sun. I mean, sextile in the eclipse, you can tell, but trining the sun. New foundation, 4 degrees, inner safety and security, 4 number Saturn, that's frequency of Saturn, the stability, security, Cancer, Cancer degree, Virgo, making the new choices, new adjustments because of what we've learned, what we are learning right here, right now, while the South Node is in a sign of Virgo, putting into practice what we learned. So, okay, so this is all looking into the future, obviously, for the next year and a half. And this all started technically in September 2024. Not exactly. I mean, the cycle of the Pisces started with the new moon last year in March, right before the final, well, not the final, but the lunar eclipse in Libra. We still had one in October 2024. But the bottom line is that these are again just building up more layers of the cycles that we are experiencing, and they are expanding. They are expanding and growing. And at the moment, because we can see there is the stellium in Pisces, we have Sun is just about to make a conjunction with Saturn 11 days later. Also, Sun is going to make another conjunction with Mercury, but that is not happening until Mercury is retrograde in Aries. Let me see, I got it written down somewhere. 24th of March. So that will be in between the eclipses. That will be in Aries. Yes, the last conjunction happened in Aquarius between Sun and Mercury recently, and also Sun conjunct in North Node. And that will be 17th of March, so right after the eclipse in Virgo. This is actually 17th of March is the day when I have my Pluto square, first Pluto square. So we can see a lot of things are culminating, right? Even though, because it's Sun, this would we would class as a new phase for Saturn, new phase for Mercury, new phase for Neptune, new phase for Venus, new phase for Chiron. But technically, how things actually work is all of these guys are just going to be conjunct by the Sun. Saturn, Mercury, and then also Neptune and Venus. So the exact conjunction between Sun and Neptune is on the 19th of March, again, right after the eclipse. The exact conjunction with Venus will be on 22nd of March. So that's technically already in Aries season. In equinox, it will be in Aries. Sun will be in Aries. Currently, there is a semi-sextile, right? Almost exact semi-sextile between the new moon in Pisces and Venus, supportive aspect. And also Venus is closing to Chiron here. They're going to have a conjunction next month. And this is resetting. What are we resetting? Well, our needs and values in a sense, because Venus, well, actually, no, Venus is not going to conjunct Chiron until May because Venus is stationed in retrograde on the 1st. Yes, sorry about that. They are going to be conjuncting, they're already within a degree, but Venus is going backwards into Pisces. So the exact conjunction between Venus and Chiron is not happening anytime soon. But anyway, so we have all these combinations, which on this chart looks like a new phase. So Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, Venus, Chiron to this moon, because we are seeking a deeper meaning. This is a new direction for us, but Sun will be resetting the cycles that began between Sun and Saturn, Sun and Mercury, Sun and Neptune, and Sun and Venus in the upcoming weeks, because as old things are ending, new things are being seeded at the same time. There is nothing just like in a static point in a time where things are just ending and nothing new is beginning. Everything that's, there is always a different phase of the cycles, and always when something is ending, something new is beginning. So what are we really seeding in here is this new structure of reality, new relational pattern, new way of thinking, and all of this is to do with the spirit. All of this is to do with our intuition, with actually connecting to the human experience on a deeper level. But this is something new for us. Venus is in Aries, 10 degrees. 10 degrees is technically already Leo decan. We have to create it. And nobody knows what exactly that's going to look like. Also, we have here Venus is in exact opposition with Black Moon Lilith, ruled by Venus at the moment because Black Moon Lilith is in Aries. So we are balancing. We are balancing the shadows of the humanity, which obviously, to a certain extent exist in each and every single one of us. Therefore, we are balancing them in ourselves, and we are going through this path of self-discovery, self-exploration to find what holds a deeper meaning, what kind of reality we want to create that holds a deeper meaning. And also, like I started saying, with regards to these contracts, the contracts that we have with one another, because of which we keep reincarnating and playing role with people in our environment. It's 1156, again, 1111. These contracts are ending. Sun is just about to conjunct Saturn, even though it is, on as a fixed moment in time on this chart is a new phase, but technically it's a closing phase because Sun not yet conjuncted Saturn. So we are culminating the cycle from last year. We are seeking what holds a deeper meaning, but at the same time, we're creating a foundation that is based on something that is beyond our physical eye, beyond our logical comprehension. Mercury is in a sign of Pisces. This is not about logic. This is not about having the explanation and logical understanding. Just like when people say, well, how do I know that this is my intuition and not my ego? Because with intuition, we don't know the why. We just know. We just have the knowing, but we cannot explain it necessarily. We don't have all the justification and excuses and all the logical explanations for it. That is the left brain, that is the logical mind. And Mercury is actually opposing the south node. Mercury is going to conjunct north node, and at the same time is going to oppose south node, which currently is ruled by Mercury. So this is all about balancing. What have we learned? What have we learned living on this planet? Not just like me personally, but all of us and everybody that was here before, including our ancestors and past life manifestations, like incarnations, right? What have we learned that now we can understand the deeper meaning of that, but also we can choose not to repeat the same mistakes, the takes that didn't take, and learn from it. Extract the meaning, extract the learning, and move into the new phase of our evolution, into this new chapter of human evolution, understanding it and put like seeking a deeper meaning through doing something different, making a different choice, right? Also with this Jupiter is square in this moon. With regards to Sun and Jupiter, this is a closing square, right? Jupiter and Sun, they are conjuncting, squaring on the 2nd of March, yeah, at the end of the same week. So this is, what did I say? Closing square. With regards to Jupiter and Sun as a static point, Jupiter, it's like new square, which is the action crisis in action. I'm so sorry. With this Mercury in Pisces, I can't even talk. Jupiter and Sun, this is a crisis in action square, which is something that has to be taken an action on. In this case, it's about releasing the old program and making a new choice that would allow us to perceive reality differently. But because they are coming into conjunction in May, if it was anybody else other than Sun, this would be a closing square, because they are culminating cycle that began between Sun and Jupiter last year in May 18th. But when we look at it this way, Jupiter is saying we need to take an action. We need to choose. Do I want to live my life based on the old program, the Pisces, knowing what we know, knowing what we've learned as a humanity, or do I want to make a different choice and trust the unknown, trust the spirit, trust something that we cannot explain, right? And also with Venus, and Venus being the ruler of Uranus being ruler of the Pluto, so that's the evolution. Uranus is making an exact sextile to Mercury on the same day, earlier before this actual new moon takes place. And between Mercury and Uranus, this is also closing sextile, which is like coming into balsamic phase, culmination, closing sextile, Aquarian flavor, breaking free, liberating ourselves from just the survival instinct that we just have to survive. But because it is on a Capricorn decan and this is an Aquarian degree, liberating ourselves from somebody else being in charge of our life, feeling disempowered because we feel somebody else is always in charge and is controlling how I'm experiencing this life. And that's why Venus is in a sign of Aries, ruled by Mars at this stage, direct, and they are having a square. They're going to have an exact square, Mars and Venus. So this is a closing square again, Venus to Mars, a closing square. Crisis in consciousness. What are we releasing? We're releasing the insecurity that is connected to the old way of being, the old identity. Mars is currently the ruler of Venus, and Mars is ruled by the moon. Moon is in Pisces. Again, what did we learn? It held a meaning, but does it still hold a meaning to externalize our power and identify ourselves through the eyes of another? The other is just a mirror. It serves us to understand ourselves, but we need to trust ourselves. The trine to the moon. Mars trining the moon. In the past 2 months, 2.5, while Mars was retrograde, it was pointing us inwards. How does it feel? How do you feel? Do you trust your feeling? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your inner voice? Or do you still look outside of yourself for the answers? And Mercury is in Pisces. Nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense because when Mercury is Pisces, this is the great opportunity for us to connect with the source, with our intuition, with the spirit. People with Mercury in Pisces, they think very differently. They think predominantly with the right side of the brain. It's like a poetry. Life is a poetry. Life is all about visions and metaphors, right? And Mercury, it's close into the North Node. It's going to have triple conjunction, as I already mentioned, just like Venus will. So there is a big reset happening with regards to the old way of perceiving reality and the way that is becoming available to us. Because again, to create different reality, we have to go beyond that level of consciousness that we were playing with when this reality we are experiencing the manifestation of at the moment was created. So we have to, in the sense, go into this world of metaphors and vision and that which we not yet see manifested and believe it that it's possible. Like Mercury in Pisces is kind of like believing in fairy tales because Mercury is the ruler of Jupiter. Jupiter is Gemini. It's giving us a choice. Do you want to believe that that which you see manifested is all there is? That this physical manifestation, this Capricorn realm, right, the tangible manifestation of the former thoughts, desires, wishes, dreams, and also the belief system. Do you feel that this is all there is, or is there more? But if you can't see it, then you have to believe that it's possible because otherwise you're not going to manifest it because the physical manifestation, once again, is the final stage of the manifesting process. So again, with the South Node being in the sign of Virgo, it's just supporting us in remembering what did we learn? What did we learn through all these previous cycles as a humanity, all these contracts we've had with each other, we played to one another, all these roles we played with one another to help each other to learn, to grow and evolve, also to burn the karma from ourselves and for the humanity as all, right? But all that is being reset. This is the year. This is the year where we're doing the final cleanup. We're doing the final culminating of these contracts because from here, right? Where is it? This one? We're going ahead. This Uranus, August 2026, Uranus in Gemini, this is going to put a lot of pressure to make a different choice. Already this has been amplified by Jupiter. Jupiter being the sign of Gemini and Jupiter here is squaring the moon here, just as it was a year ago, right? Where are we? No, not here. The full moon, the eclipse, yes. Squared by Jupiter. Again, Jupiter, right? Jupiter is making us to look at the stories, right? Especially while Jupiter was retrograde until recently, until beginning of February, all these old stories, all these old belief systems were regurgitated, were coming to the surface of our consciousness. Many of us are like remembering all these limited belief systems and also all these thoughts. This monkey mind is like relentless, just like bringing things up like, oh my God, I haven't even thought about this for ages, and now this awful thing is coming back to my forefront of my mind and I have to resolve it, or a situation that's unresolved from years ago. This is something I've been experiencing in my personal life, situations with other people that been unresolved, stories with regards to what I'm experiencing or had experienced and stuff. And this Jupiter is just amplifying it. It's just like pushing it in our face and like, no, you need to look at this. You need to look at this story and understand like why this story even took place. Why was it created? Does it still hold a meaning? Is it the truth? Or do you want it to be your truth going forward? Being attached to this truth, are you going to be manifesting that which you desire? Or are you going to be stuck in the same loop? Okay, if I believe this and I take it as my truth, then I'm just going to keep attracting things that will prove me right. That this is the truth then, right? Because whatever we believe, if we find a proof for, that's just how it works by the law of attraction. It doesn't matter if it's truth or not, unless it's a universal law. It's irrelevant if it's the truth. What matters is how does it make you feel. This Mars, he's been teaching us that for the past 2.5 months, almost 3 months. How does it make you feel? Is this the person you want to be going forward, feeling this way? Like, I don't know, feeling victimized by life or feeling constantly depressed and disappointed or frustrated or angry? Is this the person I want to be going forward? That's the question. It doesn't matter who you were. That's something to learn from. The question is who I want to be going forward, because also who I am right now is the result of the past. So the question is who I want to be going forward. That's the Pluto trine in the South Node. Who do I want to be going forward? Knowing who I were. Did I learn? Do I understand what it was all about? Do I understand the lessons or do I need to repeat them? I mean, Mercury is gonna go back and forth, Aries, Pisces, so is Venus. Back and forth. Does this still hold the value? Is this allowing me to have my needs met? So that's what I mean. Like, this is so much deeper than meets the eye because we are literally reinventing our lives. We have some very deep questions to ask ourselves and ponder about, especially being in Pisces season. This is obviously a new moon in Pisces, so we see it in something that will hold the, hopefully deeper meaning, greater meaning than what we've experienced until this point. Because with this Mercury in a new phase with the Sun, it's saying like, okay, well, the new way of operating in this reality, if you want to experience the unlimited abundance of the universe, has to be different from that which we experienced in the past. But, because of the opposition, there is a balancing. It doesn't mean that it's all meaningless, but we just have to decide, choose Jupiter squaring, right? Choose taking an action, choose, decide, choose for yourself, make a choice. Does this hold a meaning for you? Because this Venus in Aries, all like, they would say Venus in Aries is in the detriment, right? Or a fall. So yeah, Venus in Aries, this is not the greatest place for Venus to be apparently, because Venus is also in rulership in Libra, right? But Venus in Aries is like discovering herself in a brand new way, and she's gonna go back into Pisces where she's exalted. That's the unconditional love. And that's going to be happening right at the eclipses, 27th, I believe I said it was when Venus returns. Yes, 27th, and she's going to conjunct Neptune for the second time. Venus is conjuncting Saturn, Neptune, and North Node 3 times. Mercury is conjuncting North Node and Neptune three times, but not Saturn. Saturn only once. Because the structure of reality that you want to, well, the structure of the reality that you are bringing into creation through your thoughts and your focus, right? Depends on you, the Pisces. It depends on you. What are you tapping into? It doesn't depend on someone outside of us. But with the Venus, because everything in this reality is relational, and obviously Venus being until recently the ruler of the South Node, which was the resolution node to Pluto square in 2023, we are taking our power back and reclaiming the aspects of ourselves that we've lost and fragments of our soul from the external to become whole again. That's also Pisces, the totality, the wholeness, the unity consciousness, all the rest of it. So Venus conjuncting Saturn for the 3 times, still 2 more yet to come. This is an opportunity for us to decide how do we want to be relating, what kind of roles we want to be playing. If this is really a stage and I'm an actor or an actress, but I also am everything else, I'm the director and a screenwriter and the editor, everything. What role do I want to play, with regards to this big playground we have available here on planet Earth? What do I want to play? Because it's at the end of the day, it's all about Leo. Venus is on Leo decan of Aries. What are we creating? This new direction, this new way of relating in opposition with Lilith, balancing, healing this shadow of the humanity that's been projecting on each of every single one of us, which is unhealed. The old stories, the memories, the old identities, the old versions of ourselves. It's been all projecting on everyone, right? Because everything that's unresolved from the past lives, every next generation gets a little bit of it, like it just gets spread across. When the soul comes, the new generation comes, that which is unresolved from the previous generation, even if the generations are already here, I mean, everything is happening and exists simultaneously, it's being spread through all these new souls, right? Like all these things that are unresolved, and we all trying to heal them and resolve them in our own unique way, through our own unique experience of living our own life. You know, the Virgo, living the life, the hero's journey, the human's journey, just going through life and just trying to neutralize, again, you know, the opposition, Venus and Lilith, neutralize that which is still unresolved from the past incarnation, from the humanity, right? The stories of humanity, the Jupiter in Gemini. We have the opportunity to choose a new story for ourselves. It's 12-12, free co-creation. What are we co-creating together? And yeah, the Mercury opposition to South Node, he's the ruler of. We have the opportunity to let go of the contracts, you know, Mercury, the contracts, you know, also Libra, the contracts, you know, the Lilith, the Black Moon Lilith in opposition with Venus, the contracts from the past. We have the opportunity to release all of that. Venus is conjuncting Saturn 3 times, exactly. We have the opportunity to create new contracts. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Saturn likes Venus. Yeah. Because everything is relational. Everything is relational, but the law of karma is in operation. So yes, so everything that we didn't manage to learn, heal, and you know, transmute previously, it is right here, right now. It exists right here, right now. And especially this year, the year of Hermit, the year number 9, the year of culmination with the South Node in Virgo. Hermit is the Virgo, right? So we have the opportunity to resolve it because we have time. We still have time. Saturn, Neptune, Uranus are going to go back. They're going forward, but then they're going to go back. We have time. Saturn is 29 degrees, right? During the next eclipse in Pisces in September. We have time, but the time is running out. So that's why we already have, you know, Venus in Aries, but the most important, like we have all these planets in Pisces, but in a ahead of a sun, which would be classed as new phase, right? New phase conjunction, even though technically it is a closing phase because they haven't conjuncted yet, because sun is going to move towards them. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter how we're looking at it. There is closing and opening at the same time because new moon is always about beginnings and endings. Something has ended, so something new can begin. But we are always at different stages of all these cycles. You know, nothing is just beginning and ending. Because even like, you know, for Mars, like Mars has a 2-year cycle. You know, he's not going to conjunct Venus again this year or something, you know, even though Venus is closing to Mars, final quarter square. But, you know, Mars is just come out of retrograde. Venus is going to go into retrograde. So she's going to go backwards. Mars is going to go forward. So again, Mars is going to catch up, right? So they're not going to have another conjunction until next year, for example. So we have all these different cycles in a different stage of the cycle, but the point is that us as a humanity, you know, as the overall energy with the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, we are at the culminating stage. We are learning from everything that happened before. We learning what was the meaning, the totality, what was the meaning of the totality that was ever experienced on this planet, and where do we go from here? Because when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries to stay next year, well, Neptune in January, Saturn in February, there is a new reality being born, right? They're going to have a conjunction on 0 degrees of Aries, anaretic degrees in February next year. So these are huge energies. These are very transformative energies, but this process of freeing ourselves from the past so we can be more future oriented rather than continuously be looking into the past and what was, what made us to be who we are now and how did we even get here. You know, this is the focus now. You know, this is the focus now, but we're moving away from that. Because when these new cycles fully begin with all these new planets in the new signs, by the time of the final lunar eclipse in Pisces in 2026, everybody is in the masculine sign. I mean, Chiron is in Taurus, will be in Taurus, which is the new foundation. The new foundation has been established, so we're moving ahead. We're moving ahead. And for that, we need to know who we are and what matters and what we want to choose to believe to be our story. What do we, what program, what kind of software we want to operate from. And this is all that's happening right here, right now. We seeding these visions of the future. We are seeding the vision of the future because the future is already here, but it's not yet manifest. Because Saturn is still in Pisces, it has not yet manifest. But it will. It will. Yeah. By the time of the final eclipse in Pisces in 2026, we will start seeing some of it because Saturn will be in Aries. Saturn is still in Pisces at the eclipse this year, 2025. And then already the new moon 2026, yes. Saturn is already back in Aries. So yeah, 2026, that's the reset year. The reset year I've been talking about is the reset point, the Wheel of Fortune and the 0 for the Fool and 1 for the Magician, right? And that's what we saw. Which chart was it where we saw all these 1 degrees? Oh yeah, here. Is it here? Yeah. 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree. Was it anywhere else? Was there more charts? 1 degree. No, it's already 4 degrees. And yeah, it's gonna be more here. Pluto, 3 degrees. Fantastic. Here is my last Pluto square. Okay, anyway. Yeah. So all these 1 degrees, the illumination in September, because energetically, based also on the channelers that I follow, energetically already in July 2025, we'll be tapping into the energy of 2026. So that's why like the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces will be experiencing this year in September with all these ones, right? 111, but Saturn is still on 29 degrees, well, back on 29 degrees retrograde. And this is closing phase, yeah, closing phase. So this is the last call. The eclipse in September, this is the last call. Because it's the 29 degrees, is the closing, Mercury closing to Sun, and it's the 1 degrees. Call to action, become your magician. So what are we seeding? What are we seeding right now? Knowing what we've learned while Jupiter was retrograde, and this is since the conjunction we experienced last year, prior, post, well, this moon was prior, the conjunction happened post following months, April 2024, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, right? So what have we learned since then? Jupiter gone into Gemini, gone retrograde between October and now February, and now we can make a different choice. What are we choosing? This is a crisis in action. We need to decide, we need to choose, because by the time of the full moon, we need to start taking forward momentum in a sense, even though all these planets are retrograde, which means that the forward momentum has to be happening inside, because this is the year of Hermit. All the work, most of the work is being done inside on our inner landscape, right? And by this point, obviously, Jupiter is in Cancer, ruled by the moon. Moon in Pisces, co-creation with the spirit. Yeah. Yeah, and the Uranus also sextile in the North Node, trine in the South Node. Yeah. And then here, we're going to have the Uranus square in the nodes. Square in the nodes pointing to the North Node, time to liberate. Here, Uranus is trine in the South Node, sextile in the North Node, supporting the North Node. Is try to understanding yourself, Taurus, understanding yourself in a new way, Venus, to create, Leo Deacon, to create something of a deeper meaning that is unique to each person. Pluto in Aquarius, 2 degrees, Taurus, foundation. Taurus, this is 11, this is Aquarian Deacon, Capricorn Deacon, Aquarian degree. What are we creating? In co-creation with the spirit. 12 degrees, number 3. 12 degrees, hanged man. Neptune. What are we creating by letting go of the old? Because Mars here is on Scorpio Deacon. Leo degree, again, Leo degree. 17 degrees, Leo degree, Scorpio Deacon. what version of yourself you want to create, want to become, in order to believe that you can create something of a deeper meaning, because we already know what the opposite feels like, the contrast, right? The Virgo, the past, and oh my God, it's 1221, free again. Jupiter is very present and Mercury. Yeah. Through everything that happened in the past, we have the opportunity to see the contrast, right? What I want and what I don't want. So choose to create a new foundation to support you. Use this as an anchor point. As the ashes of the past, it's still a fertilizer. It wasn't for nothing. Everything holds a meaning. Everything holds a meaning. 24 degrees Pisces. Everything holds a meaning. We just need to understand it, understand it, because logically we might not always understand it. And that's why Mercury is going to conjunct North Node 3 times, going to Aries, but then going back to Pisces, because the new way of thinking is not logical necessarily. Not everything is going to make sense. We will have to tune in, tap in to find the meaning, to understand the guidance, right? So in a nutshell, that's what I feel that we see it in right now. We see it in this new way of operating in reality that is based on our reconnection with the spirit, because we have the contrast, we understand what doesn't work, we maxed out, everything to do with previous manifestations. It lost meaning now, like how much more of anything I can have and still feel empty, right? Also, the relational patterns, how many lovers do I need and still feel empty? Everybody is seeking deeper meaning, seeking purpose. What am I here for? What am I here to do? Yeah, all of these things, they make me happy for 5 seconds. And then what? Then I need another fix because I feel empty. So we know with Saturn being in Pisces that the old way of being that made us feel safe and secure, that created the container for us to operate from, is dissolving. It became too restrictive, so it had to dissolve. It has to dissolve because with the Pluto Saturn conjunction in Capricorn, right, in 2020, we are creating a new structure, and now the old structure is ending because Pluto is already on 2 degrees of Aquarius, creating a new foundation of the Aquarian age, right? And they're gonna have another opposition with Mars over here, one more, when Mars goes back to Leo in April. April 26th. Oh yeah, I remember because it's on my birthday. April 26th, exact. And that's the day where Mercury will come out of his shadow. April 26th. So what are we choosing? What are we choosing? Because Jupiter was squaring the nodes. Squaring, where was it? The eclipse, right here. Yeah. Not squaring the nodes, squaring the eclipse. Jupiter was squaring the eclipse in September. So it was already telling us the old version of ourselves has to die because we in for a brand new adventure. North Node in Aries, 6 degrees, Virgo. The human journey, hero's journey is changing. It's changing. Mercury was in Virgo, perfect. Second decan, Capricorn. The hero's journey, human journey is changing because we need to experience it from the place of being the conscious creator of reality. So now Jupiter is squaring the moon, just like it was squaring the eclipse 6 months ago. And it's saying, okay, now between October and February, we were reevaluating. We had the retrograde. What did we learn? What are we going to choose now? What holds a meaning? What doesn't? What are we leaving behind? What are we leaving behind? The moon is closing to Saturn and Mercury and North Node and Neptune and Venus and Chiron. The moon is going to conjunct all of these guys within next few days. Day, 2 days, 3 days after the moon. So it's saying, what do I need to leave behind? What aspects of myself? It's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve. It's the 9 degrees, the year we at. It's okay to grieve that which is gone because it lost meaning. We cannot find the same meaning. It's like when people are getting divorced and it's not there anymore, right? The thing that they felt when they were getting married is gone. It's gone, and there is a lot of grief. But there was a meaning to that because you've grown, because you've learned. Nothing is without meaning. It doesn't matter how long it lasts, right? So this is also the new way, Venus, the new way, Venus in Aries. There is a new relational paradigm that's being birthed. That is saying we're going to do things differently this time. It is going to be about how does it make me feel. It is no longer going to be about, oh, I feel ashamed because what will the older people think? They will judge me, right? South Node in Virgo, because this is how it's been. Because we're supposed to be perfect. We're not supposed to make mistakes. But if nobody ever made any mistake, we would never learn anything. So that's why this Mercury is saying we need to let go of this program. This program now lost meaning. It makes us feel victimized. It makes us feel play small. This Saturn new phase with Saturn, right? Mercury new phase with Saturn. They just had a conjunction. Mercury Saturn. Yeah, that's happening. What day is it? Tuesday, 25th. Yeah, resetting the cycle that began last year on February 28th. Yeah. Anyway, guys, this again, this is Pisces, so it probably doesn't make much sense. I can't get my words right, so it probably doesn't make much sense either. But, like this is all about how does it make you feel? How do you feel? Even experiencing whatever you're experiencing right now, what is the meaning of that for you? What does it remind you of? What stories are coming up for you? Do you want to keep reliving the same story 1 year from now, or in 6 months when we have the eclipse? What do we want to choose based on how does it make me feel? It doesn't matter if it's the truth. Jupiter is in Gemini. Who cares what is the truth? What is the truth for you based on how does it make you feel? Yeah? Does it hold a meaning? What did I learn? The number 9, the Hermit. What did I learn? Walking the earth, 27 degrees, number 9. Again, number 9. What did we learn? And what are we choosing based on what we know? What do you choose to be your next story, the next chapter? Mercury close into Uranus, freeing yourself from the past to create a new foundation for the future by being your own creator, liberating yourself. These two, yeah, connected. Venus, 10 degrees, creating the new for the year 10, creating the new for the year 10, 10, 28 degrees, 10, 10, 9, 6, the balance. Opposition, the balance, 10, again, 9, 8, 3, co-creation, 5, the change, the chaos. The change has to take place because that which is now manifest is no longer in alignment, is in Pisces. It's maxed out. We can excavate the meaning, but we cannot repeat the whole thing. It's gone. So what are we seeding? What visions for the future are we seeding that will become illuminated to us in September with the eclipse and then again in 2026 eclipse? Because there is no going back. There's no going back. So knowing what you know and understanding that that which was can never fully be again, what are we each going to choose? And only you know, because only you know how it makes you feel. And it's the 17, the number 8. Number 8. 17, the star card, right? The number 8, the strength. Having the strength to reach for the star, because that's what the hermit holds in the little lamp. Go within to learn what holds a meaning, and that will show you where you need to go. The heart, right? Venus in Aries, on Leo Decan, and the Chiron here in Sagittarius Decan, with the Jupiter in Gemini. You decide, you choose. Yeah, it's very profound, very powerful. Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sure there are a million other things I could be talking about, but right now I feel this is enough. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it for now, and I'm going to hop on my mobile phone and pull some cards and see what comes out with those. So this is the part one complete, which is the astrological part. I do hope that everything was fine because I'm working with my new laptop and I'm just getting used to it. And I hope that there was something of a value to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love, everyone, and bye for now.